CC,
Hey, Al.
how you doing, my friend?
Good, brother.
Good. It's good to have you, my friend. You ready to have a great show?
You betcha.
All right, let me open the show. Let's get right into it, brother. All right, everybody, welcome back to the No Cover TV podcast. That's right, I'm your host, Big Al, and I take that original local national music and I shove it in your face. Oh, I do a pretty good job at it too. Been doing it since '97, and I'm going to continue to do it. There's great music all around this world, I'm finding out, all genres, all age groups. And I feel blessed to bring the story and the music to you. And I am going to continue for quite some time. Please check out the past shows. We have quite a few back there, and the future shows. And of course, today's show. We got a great show for you today. But I want you to use my three favorite words. That's support, support, support your artist. Get out to the shows, pay a cover charge if there is one. Get to the swag table, get the t-shirts, coffee mugs, keychains, perfume, soap, whatever they have in the CD and albums. And they get up to the stage and have a good time, and then meet the artist after the show and get some autographs, because you never know what's going to happen. These artists are amazing, so support them. Please do, because they love what they're doing to put a smile on your face, and your smile puts it on their face, which is great, real great. So let's get to the show today. Don't waste any time. Yes, we have an amazing artist in the house today, singer-songwriter CC Brooks. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, Al. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this interview.
Yeah, your show was amazing. What you just said was amazing. It's what every artist thinks every day of his life, that just, just a little support from everybody just goes such a long, long way. And the fact that you've been promoting it as long as, long as I've been in this genre anyway, is absolutely amazing. So thank you from all of us.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And I mean, I have to do it. Yeah, I used to play from 85 to 97. I couldn't leave the music business, and I had to help the others. So I'll continue to do that. But it's not about me. It's about CC Brooks today. You are a country with rock and roll involved in there, brother. I like this.
Well, thank you. This is a long journey for me. Actually, I'm a professional drummer, starting at the age of 13. So I only started actually pursuing this genre of music after a slight hiatus and realization that it wasn't going to leave me alone. So the fact that we're getting appreciation from yourself and the other people that have listened to these tracks is very encouraging and inspiring for me.
Well, great. We got quite a bit we're going to cover today, so let's get to it. And before we talk music, but we're going to do that anyways here, I got to get in your head. We got to go back in time.
Careful.
That's why I'm asking the questions.
You do this at your own peril, Al. I can't help it. You can't unsee some things. So caution.
Oh no, really? Sign a release, Al. Here we go. All right. Well, you said you started the drums at age 13, so I got to take you to around 8-10 years old. What were you listening to? And then was it your parents that got you involved with the drums? What happened there?
Yeah, no, my parents were single-handedly involved in this. I was about 7. I was the youngest of 4 children, and we always had a piano in our house. And I thought it was really cool when I first, when I was a little kid, because my mom would always play it on weekends. And my dad wasn't much of a musician, but he'd stand at her side. And I remember one of my first memories was my dad singing Danny Boy and my mom playing piano. And I only got one video of that my whole life, and it's somewhere in a box somewhere. And if you ever want to make my whole family cry, you just got to get out that video. And so my dad was not a musical man, but he required that every one of us took 5 years of piano, no questions asked. So I took 5 years of piano. So, and I was pursuing that just because I was forced to. And my mom had a guitar, and that was, music instruments were kind of showing up. And then one year I got a bunch of boxes under the tree at Christmas time, and there was 2 triangular boxes and 4 big square boxes, and I got the 4 big square ones. I opened them up, and it's a Blue Sparkle set of drums from the Simpson Sears catalog, and I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
Like this is not what I ordered. I don't know what I wanted for Christmas that year, but it didn't look like this. And I was okay. I guess you wanted to start the Partridge Family was big at the time. I guess he was dreaming of
Yeah.
us painting a bus and going on the road. But so I set them up, and they sat there for about a year. So I just didn't know what to do with them, and I tried to play them and didn't. I just didn't get the hang of it really. And there was nobody in my little town to teach me. So
Oh,
I started listening to when my mom would go away. We had that big record player in the front room, and I would
oh yeah.
turn on these albums. And to make a short answer long, I started listening to BTO and
Oh yeah.
Kiss. And
There you
my brother was a huge fan of the Rolling Stones at the time.
go.
Back then, I guess you had the Stones people and the Beatles people. We were the Stones
Yep.
people, and so listen to a lot of Charlie Watts and a lot of those guys. And then of course my mother was a huge country fan and a huge Elvis fan. So
Oh,
we had all the old Elvis 78s, and I would listen
man.
to those all the time. And
Amazing.
stuff like oh, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., the whole Rat Pack stuff was
Rat
in our
Pack.
house all the time, and
Oh, that's great stuff.
very diverse musical background right from the start.
I love that. I was not forced, but violin was first, then trumpet, baritone, trombone, on and then it finally,
Wow.
rock, then it was rock and roll, and it was Kiss. Opened my eyes at 12 years old too. So bought my first guitar at that age. Couldn't
Hmm.
figure the damn thing out though for until I was 18.
Yeah, well, my dad, once he got into the instrument buying thing, all of a sudden this beautiful Fender amp showed up, one of those piggyback Tremolox, and
Oh yeah.
this black Hagstrom guitar, and man,
Oh,
like it was just
oh,
to have that amp to this day would be something else. I had no
oh.
idea what I had in my hand, and so then
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of got electrical, and I was supposed to be a lawyer, Al.
It's
That was my
still
dad's goal for me, and so then pretty soon my mom's got me in a talent show with this other guy that plays guitar and dressing us all in
okay.
the same outfits, and it's like, well, you maybe should have had me watching Law and Order instead of doing this, and maybe I would have become a lawyer. I don't know what on earth you were thinking. Uh, because man, once this gets into your blood, it's really hard to get out.
Yeah.
And then I just went on the road as soon as I got out of high school.
That's cool.
I sold a little Ford bus, and I traded it for a 54 passenger purple and white school bus. And
Nice.
I was the youngest. Yeah, I was the youngest. I was 18. The oldest kid was 20, and we just jumped in this bus and we toured around Canada until the wheels fell off it.
That is great. And I got to say, honestly, you had some cool parents. I'm thinking,
Yeah, they were. Well, if you don't mind getting waken up at 2 in the morning on a Sunday because their friends are partying, and they want you to play the Bloody Red Baron, and Jeremiah was a bullfrog, and it's like, if I do this, will you stop playing the piano against my bedroom wall, and so I can go to bed and go to school? And so
that's
I would haggle with them. It was like 2 songs, 3. I'll give you 2. I got to go to school in the morning, man.
right. I got to go to school.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So they were cool.
so you start the drums at 13, and you weren't sure if that's what you wanted to play, but did you pursue the drums after high school when you hit the road?
Yeah, that was well. I only got in the band when I was young because I was the only guy with a set of drums. It's small, 10,000 people in this town. I
Right.
got a guitar too, but 2 other guys had guitars, so I lost. And no, I went on the road as soon as that was what I wanted to do. And once I got into it and realized how cool it was,
Right.
and then realizing I was never going to meet a woman until I was much older. Uh, Till I learned to play the guitar. No,
Right.
yeah, it really stuck with me, and I pursued it very diligently, and with a bit of modesty, I got quite good at it, and I got so that I made a decent living by musical standards. I remember we were making $300 a week and living large.
No, I bet back then. Yes, and that's a lot
Uh,
of money back then.
yeah, and I've toured 50 weeks a year. I'd come home 1 week for Christmas,
All
to
right.
see my mom and dad. And I'd come home one week in the summertime to see my mom and dad. And that's all I did for 15 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then let's jump ahead here. And I don't know how far ahead I'm jumping, but when did the band Point of Power come to be?
That was after our first band came apart. Well, it was great because two of the guys got an offer to play with this quite prominent recording act.
All right.
Their name was Prism, and back they're
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Prism.
So they got the singer and the keyboard player got poached, and so that left me and the remaining members kind of floundering. A couple of guys went off and had kids, and then there was me and the guitar player, and sitting there. And so we found another singer, and we, through a couple evolutions of bands over a course of a year and a half, we formed a band that was originally called Sahara, and the name was taken. Well, actually, it was originally called Giant, but we got a cease and desist from the band Giant in the States.
Oh, really?
Because we were using their name. What they didn't realize is we had incorporated the name, so they had to buy us out, and that's what we did, use to make the down payment on the album.
Nice.
So that was late 80s, early 90s when that was all going on, and I really got a serious education about the music business.
You got a slap in the face, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I got a couple of them. I was just like,
share.
Like, really? Like, aren't we supposed to be writing songs and playing them? Because the last thing I've been doing is I've talked to a lawyer twice, and I've talked to an agent times, and these people that say they're going to release our album, and I haven't been doing any music at all. So it was quite an interesting time, for sure.
Yeah, the business side can be a real pain in the butt, and the people behind it sometimes are a real pain in the butt. Oh boy!
Well, I don't. Someone said the music business is just a dark, empty hallway with nothing but reprobates and ill-willed people trying to rob you of your soul in promises of something you may never ever get.
Yes, indeed.
And then there's a bad side.
Very bad side. Very bad. Unfortunately, I did see that side in my journeys, and I tell the young artists now, you're like a tree. You're going to have many branches that are going to go off, and you can follow whichever one you want. But look around and be careful, because there's a lot of smiles around, and they're not real smiles. They just want something, and they're not.
And Al, right now, like, the music business is so great in so many ways. My son is a professional musician, and he's living in Vancouver, BC, just working his ass off trying to make something of himself.
Great.
But what's really great about this now is that, you know, a lot of it really can be in your power to be a great artist. Now, monetizing that's another ball of wax, and some people are good at it, some people aren't. I've been in the business since I've been in the business over 50 years, and I've literally made hundreds of dollars. It's you know, like, it's, if you're in it for the money, it's like, if you're a farmer and you're in it for the money, get out of it, because it's
keep your day job.
This is all about loving being an artist, and I'm fortunate enough. I mean, I don't do that. I have other things that I do that allow me to feed my family and stay off the dog food. But this pursuit is just so great in this time, because you really can get out there and reach so many people. I mean, I got to meet you. I'm from Fort St. John, British Columbia. You're in Nashville. Like,
I'm in Michigan.
Oh, you're in Michigan. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's still a ways, you know.
It is a ways. It's
really exciting. It's an exciting time for sure.
It is, with the platforms and being able to put your music out there, and the people do listen. It's amazing. It is amazing out there.
Yeah. The things you're doing now are things that I would have never realized that you could do. But you know, you can't go into a coffee shop, or you walk around, and everyone's got a set of earbuds in, and everybody's listening to something.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there. Oh, indeed. All right. So Was it? I'm reading about what 4 or 5 years ago. You just started writing again, or what was that? A little
That
earlier.
was, I think it was about 10 years ago.
10 years. Okay.
Maybe so. God, the years just fly by. I swear to
Right.
God, I had 2 birthdays this year. I don't know what happened, but we had. So yeah, I get back to town. I get back here pretty well done with the music industry. Uh, the studio repossessed my drum kit
Oh,
for payment. Oh,
brother.
it was just the ugliest of ugliest things.
Oh no.
And oh, it was gross. And anyway, so I get back here, I got nothing, and I'm just like, I am done. Like I'll do anything but music. And then I finally got a little ahead of the game, and we moved it. We finally got a place to live, and then I started seeing my mom, going to my mom's house visiting. She's got a beautiful Martin D28. And I started playing it again. And
Oh.
then, well, I'll pick up a guitar. And then I run into a guy and he plays guitar and he's going, hey, we should get in a band. I'm going, never, never, ever. He said, you want to get together, play some songs, have some cocktails? I'm your guy, you know? So fast forward 2.5 years later, this guy has bought a studio in Nashville. We were down on Music Row recording our first 16-song album.
Oh man.
And I'm up to my ass in debt again. I'm building drum
Oh.
kits, and I'm still the drummer at this point, but I'm the songwriter now. But I'm playing the drums, and
Oh.
it's just okay. So here we are. And so then that went on for 2 albums that went really well. And then everybody got wives and lives and stuff. And then I just
Right.
went, well, I got to do this myself. It's time. So I started. So that would have been, I'd say about 8 or 9 years ago since I really just going, I'm just going to write my own stuff. I'm going to start playing it live and come what may.
Great. Well, then let's jump to now. Okay. Now I've been listening to the music. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Oh man, I'm jamming to this. Now I gotta know. I see you're doing, solo stuff, but now with your singles and EP, you have a band. Now, is that a full-time band or studio musicians? What do you got? Are they friends?
Some are old time friends. It's a very fluid situation. My band's I like I said, I grew up loving Springsteen, and not grew up but grew old loving Springsteen. Actually, he was a late crush for me, and I finally got to see him live for one of my birthdays. And
Wow.
and I went, that's what I want to do. How hard can that be? So I bought a Telecaster, and I started working this out. And I just, all I knew is I wanted the bands to be big. So my bands, I get as many people on the stage as I can afford. And I never make any money on these sort of performances, but who cares? You can make money doing other things.
Right.
And so yeah. So it's gone through a few iterations. My first take at this was it was CC Brooks and the Dog and Pony Show. That had a bunch of guys from a bunch of bands in my hometown, and that went on for quite a while. And now this summer, my old band that I was with back in the '80s, Simon Chaos, two of the guitar player and bass player of them are going to be coming up to play in CC Brooks and the Chillin' Villain Orchestra.
Chillin' Villain Orchestra.
Yeah, I know. The name is strictly for merchandising purposes.
That's a great name.
It's going to be a good shirt, CVO and all this.
I love it.
Yeah, a little 40s retro thing. So we're going to be doing that. And I got fiddle, steel, dobro, piano, bass, guitar, drums, and then me.
That's great.
The goal being that I just have to go up there and sing the damn stuff, and there'll be enough musicians around. I don't even have to plug in. That would be best, probably best for the performance in general.
That's wonderful. Okay, now you just had a new single come out. What, The Bridges I've Burned?
Yeah.
That's a great song. That's a great song. Talk to me about that song. What's that about?
I love that song. I've written hundreds of songs. And this one has been sitting for a long time. It's not just the song, it's honesty, the fact that it kind of sings to me, and sings to me and so many of my friends
Mhm.
in the most morose sort of way. I mean, the song is about a flawed character, which if you listen to most of my stuff, there's a lot of flawed in it. But I
Your
mean,
story.
that's country, right? That's country. I
Yes,
don't
it
know what to
is.
say. But this guy, like, it reminds me of some people I've known in my life, and he just came to the point in his life where he said, "This is who I am, and this is the cards I've been dealt, or the cards I
Right.
picked up, and I'm okay with that." Like, it's and I think that's there's a backwards sort of happiness to this. Is like, look, and if this guy can be
All right.
happy, what are you complaining about? He's a
Exactly.
moron, he's a complete dipshit. And so you got way more going for you than him, I guess. It would take a little while to get there, but if you're in my head, that's what I was going for.
Oh, I'm
And
still
then
there.
yeah, and compound that with the fact that I happen to go to this new place that I've never worked at before. I met a man named Larry Rogers. They used to call him the
Mhm.
Blade back in the '90s. He's an amazing
Mhm.
producer, and he's got this great little studio in Franklin, Tennessee, about 35 minutes south of Nashville, called Studio
Ah,
19.
Studio
Ev-
19.
Studio 19, formerly the Sound Kitchen. Everybody has played in the studio. Everybody.
Yes,
It's
they have.
The vibe is remarkable. And Larry is retired, but he offered to come out of retirement and do this for me as a favor. And he picked the musicians, and we did something very unique. We didn't send him any tapes, any demos of the songs. He charted it out off of me playing it for him. And then when everyone got there, he just said, play him the song.
Oh, I like that right on the spot.
It was very odd, and
Oh, right.
he made me come in 2 days earlier and play it for him. And I said, okay. And I said, but why did I have to play it for you? He says, I just wanted to see if you were going to choke.
He got you there. I love it.
and
That's
and
a good producer.
he's got a big old drawl on him, and he's got a
Oh,
mohawk. He's in his 80s, and he's just this hip, cool dude. And he just took my music, and I said, this is kind of how I want it to sound. And this song is the third in a trilogy that I did, and all of them sound exactly how I wanted them to sound. It was just,
beautiful.
and that one doesn't, you've recorded, Al, you know what it goes. You give the
Yeah.
musicians your music, and sometimes it comes back and it's great, but
Oh, yeah.
it isn't the song that you wrote.
It opens your eyes. It surprises you. Like, what the hell did I just write?
Well,
You
it'll
know?
just take off on you. They go with it, and then they go, well, do you like it? And if you say no, it's like, well, what do you want us to do with it? And you're
Yeah,
kind of like, I can't do anything with it now. It's in my head,
right. Ah,
and
that's
it's great. I mean, the songs are always great. They're never bad, but you're going, wait a minute, somebody cut the hair on my baby here. Like, what happened, right?
I love it.
And so
Oh,
now, these are my babies. They look exactly like I dressed them and how I cut their hair. And like it or dislike it, this is about as close to CC Brooks as you're going to get.
oh man, I love it. You're a great storyteller, and it's real. Now, tell everybody at Podcast Land the platforms they can find your music, your merch, and where you're playing.
All right. Well, thank you. The gratuitous promotional aspect of these podcasts. I love this part because I'm not very good at this. I have a web. I know I'm awful. It's just a joke. I feel so sorry for the people that work for me because it's like, Craig,
Right.
we need you to do this little technical thing. I'm saying, well, then you got to get someone over the house to help me out because this is completely beyond me, But I've managed to get myself a website. It's very easy to remember. It's ccbrooks.country, not com, not .ca, ccbrooks.country. That will channel you to my music tab, and then you can get me on all the usual stuff. It's Deezer, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube. I think those are the major six. And as far as where I'm playing, I'm actually I'm headed to Nashville next week.
Oh yeah, great.
About 10 days. Yeah. My wife and I, we got ourselves us and a bank actually bought a house down there. Hopefully they're going to give it back to me someday.
Right.
But for the time being, I'm taking care of it for them.
Well, that's
and
beautiful.
we're getting along, and I just have to pay for the privilege. But no, so we got a place down there, and we go down there whenever we can. Last 4 years have been tough for a number of reasons. COVID first, and life getting in the way. But I do have a gig at Bad Axe. Now, have you been to Bad Axe?
I haven't been to Bad Axe, no.
Okay, well, Bad Axe is an axe throwing bar.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
And
I'll be there.
Yeah. And it's going to be June 5th at 7:00. I'll be playing 4 of my own songs. And of course, every time I go down, I jump in line at the Bluebird, get on the phone and try to get on there. And I've gotten to go there twice so far. So
nice.
I'll definitely try again. That's an experience in itself. And then this summer, I've got some shows up in my neck of the woods, up in northern British Columbia, where we're going to be playing with the Chillin' Villain Orchestra. So I'll be at the Energetic County Fair, opening up for Terry Clark. And then we're going to be at this lovely festival on the banks of my hometown on the Peace River called Fred Fest. And Fred's this great guy. It's his own land. It's all done by him. There's no he runs the whole show, and it's just a class act all the way. And so I get to open up for that, and then we're gonna see, like, when I get down into Nashville, a lot of gigs can pop up at a moment's notice. So have guitar will travel.
There you go. You need it, because I see a lot of gigs coming your way with this music that you're putting out. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Now I want to ask you, you've played before venues and probably festivals possibly. I like to ask, do you like it when it's a smaller venue and the people are pretty much right on top of you, or being out on a stage and people are 10 feet away from you?
I think they both have very interesting properties, and they both deliver different things. When you're sitting in the Bluebird and you're afraid to you're afraid you might be a wet singer because some guy is right underneath you. That could be a real crush point for me. Like when somebody's sitting there, and of course, what it's like in Nashville, they don't say a bloody word. Like if they're quiet and they are listening, that can be very, very stressful. And the first time I did it, I was shaking so hard. This guy from England, he was in town, and I got off my set, and he says, "Mate, I got to tell you," he says, I love your songs, but I just can't believe you could play them shaking that hard.
Oh my goodness.
so that was, but I've gotten over that. But the nice thing on the big stage, there's just there's so much more to do. When I get to play with the Chillin' Villain Orchestra, my plan with these guys is they're all a part of it. I don't have to carry the whole thing. I can take these great players, and there's a lot of good players where I live. Like, trust me, northern British Columbia, you would be surprised how many great players are there. And if you can't get them, you fly somebody in as well. But when you get an act like that, and you got 6-7 guys on stage and everybody's carrying their weight, then I get to be a part of something bigger. So that's what I love about those big shows.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, I want to jump over to some fun questions here. Let's do that. Okay. All right.
Those were the serious ones?
Well, we might be serious here right now. It depends on what I ask you.
I'm excited. And scared all at the same time.
Exactly. Well, we just talked about being on a stage, big or small. When you get out on the stage, whether you're by yourself or with a band, and you start playing and singing and stuff, and people start moving towards you, listening, maybe moving, maybe dancing, maybe singing your song back to you. How's it hit your heart and make you feel, brother?
Well, it's only happened a few times for me, is when people have sang the words to my songs, and that's right up there with the first time you ever hear yourself on the radio. I still don't get sick of that. Like, it just there's something about it. It's just, but to hear somebody actually know your song is a mind bender for sure. I think that artists are very much like comedians, despite the bravado and this outward appearance, that we are all I always give people credit. I host some open mics and stuff, and for charity here at my local Legion. And shout out to number 102. Woo!
There you go. 102.
But you know, it takes a lot of guts to do this, and
It does.
everybody thinks. And so when people actually come back and say thank you for doing it, it's funny that you can't. It affects me in such a chemical way. The only way I can best describe it is after I've played a show where I felt it's gone well, even if it hasn't gone great. You know, a mediocre show is still better than no show at all for me. I mean,
that's right.
But when that happens, I get so chemically buzzed that, and so I'm incapable of getting drunk. and Al, I've tried.
You tried.
After a show, it's like, oh man, like, come on, let's have some cocktails and loosen up here. You know?
Right.
And I will literally, and I'll be sitting there going, I don't know. It literally affects me in a chemical way that is hard to explain. It's on so many levels that it's the reason that I continue to do it at my graduated age, you know.
That's great. It's amazing feeling, and you remember every one of them. They stay with you.
We get together with the band, and we did some reunion shows last year, and we get together. But it's funny, at this stage in the game, it took all 5 of us to get the story straight, because I tell a story and one guy going, that never happened. I said, yes, it did. And 2 other guys go, yep, you did that. And then somebody else will say, well, yeah, but what about when Craig was, I said, now that didn't happen. And everybody's nodding at me. Oh yeah, it did. And so, I'm being on my own here. I'm going to have to make sure that I'm a little more cognizant of the occurrence, behaving myself much better than I was back then. So I'm sure more of the memories are going to stick with me. Praise the Lord.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Surprised I can remember anything at all, but some of it still remains.
Yeah, I agree. All right. On this question here, I'm going to let you have 2 answers. It's 2 people, one alive, one that has passed away. Who do you want to grace the stage with? Who would you like to be on that stage with and perform with?
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. I like that. I like that. Boy, the boss.
Absolutely. Dead or alive, I'd play with him. Lyle Lovett, I'd take him in a heartbeat. And if we want to talk somebody brand new who I'm just very inspired by, it's Lucas Nelson and The Promise of the Real. I just, if I've been checking him out for about 4 years, and I got to see him twice live. And you know what they say, like, once you see a band live, that's what really makes you a fan.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, like, you can listen to it all you want, but boy, when you finally see someone, that creates that moment and that memory in time where whatever girl you were with, whether you were fighting with her or whether you're going to sleep with her that night, all those things, when the car broke down, that's when you become a real fan.
Yeah.
And it happened to me with Bruce. It's happened to me with Lyle. You know, so certainly all of those 3, take them. If you've got any connections, let them know I'm available. Okay.
I will do that. Now, how about somebody that's passed?
Someone that's passed. Roger Miller.
Really?
One of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Roger used to have a bit of a habit problem, and this is what I've heard. And all the writers in Nashville would find out where he was and if he was drinking, and he'd sit around with a guitar and write songs for those guys all night long and wake up in the morning and not have any recollection of it. And all those guys on Music Row would be walking down and saying, I got another one. He was that good.
That's amazing.
And I think of another one that I'd have to pick, and I wouldn't have picked it until last year when I went to Memphis, but definitely Elvis Presley.
He's one of my biggest fans too.
Well, I never knew until I went to Graceland. I never got it, I guess, and I was raised on him. But when I sat there in his presence and his aura, I was it was awestruck. And now whenever I go down, I always tell people, if you're going to Nashville, it's only 3-hour drive. Go to Memphis.
Just go down there.
Yeah, feel that, because that's nothing. It's nothing like Nashville, but it's another completely crazy thing,
The life of the king.
The Ghosts and BB King and everybody else there.
Oh yeah,
everybody that was there at the time.
Oh.
Loretta Thorpe and it's just, can you imagine? I mean, I'm very happy to be an 80s rock baby. I grew up in the spandex and the makeup and yeah,
too.
you look at me now and going, man, boy, you've come a long ways. Up or down, we don't know, but you've come
Right.
somewhere.
The 80s were
and I consider myself very lucky to be in that time, but that's nothing compared to the birth of rock and roll.
Oh,
the rhythm and blues, the starting of it. My God,
R&B and blues, everything came around.
But then we'd be dead. So
we were lucky in the 70s and 80s. We're still
anytime you go to a hockey game, you go to a dentist chair. I was sitting in this place getting a shave the other day in Calgary, Alberta. What are they playing? They're playing the music that I grew up with. They're not playing new music. I don't know why. Cool. Hey man, Carry On My Wayward Son still works on a lot of levels.
There you go. I love it. You can't kill rock and roll. No. I love it. All right, another question for you, CC. 2 answers on this one, but you're going to travel around the world in your mind and tell me 2 stages you really want to perform on.
Oh, the Ryman.
All right,
for sure.
Good one.
Yeah, that's a must. And I think it'd be really cool to do Stagecoach.
Oh, that's different. I like that.
That looks like a good. That looks like a good outdoor vibe. It'd be a good hang.
Yeah.
I mean, the type of thing. Some people would say Coachella, but that's just too crazy. It's
too commercial.
It's too commercial. And now it's like, well, Ryan Gosling's going to show up. Nobody's going to give a shit about me.
Yeah, Ryan's there. Yeah.
Yeah. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds or any of those Ryan guys that show up. I mean, what chance is some rock and roller on stage with a couple extra pounds got? Really? No,
yeah,
I want to go someplace smaller than that.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. Now, this question I usually ask my heavy rock and rollers, my metal bands, but I'm going to ask you this question because it might have happened because you've been doing this for a long time. Any embarrassing moments?
Okay. Yeah. Well, oh Jesus. There was this time we had a pretty strict rule in the band that we were very disciplined and we played straight all the time. No alcohol, no drugs. Definitely. Okay, no drugs. Okay, not a lot of alcohol, but we were fairly straight at the time. So we're playing this gig in my friend's hometown, and we said, you know what we should do? We should do some mushrooms. And I thought, well, that's organic. Yeah, sure. Right. Okay. All right, but don't tell anybody because we're going to be able to pull this off, and no one's going to know that we're completely high on psilocybin. So the first set's going pretty good, and I'm not really noticing much. And then I go into the second set, and at the time, the first song of that second set was Tom Sawyer by Rush.
Oh,
and for all you drummers out there, it's a fairly complicated piece.
Yeah, it is.
And I get up on the stage and I'm looking at myself, and I don't know if you've ever done something like
don't look
before,
in the mirror.
But you're looking at your hands, and now you're looking and I'm going, and you're going, my skin's purple.
Right.
And I can't tell that I'm not purple. I actually think I'm purple at this point. So meanwhile, the guys are staring at me going, you're going to count this in, bitch? And I go, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we had these big flash spots that would go off. And I hit the first note, and my drum stool, the back leg fell off, and I fell behind the stage. And I got all tied up in these cords, and I'm all high on mushrooms, and I finally come out, and these cords are wrapped around me like about 4 anacondas, and everyone's just hit the first note, and they're waiting for the and there's no boo. They're just me, and all you hear from me is, "I'm coming,
I'm coming,"
and it just got worse after that. But that was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. That one, that takes the cake. I like that one. I've seen some amazing things, but that one takes the books. We'll write that one down right
Well,
here.
Al, just please keep in mind, for all transparency, that's what I'm willing to tell you.
Yeah, right. Off mic, we can talk about other stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'll tell you what I did. No, brother. Okay, jeez. Well, now I've noticed you've done some collaborations, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but I sure want to do some more.
I'm glad you're honest, CC.
Oh, well, hey, chances of you and me ever meeting in person, probably nothing, right? Why not tell you
Right,
the truth? We're trying to find the truth here, aren't we?
right. You never know. You just never know. I'm around everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Now, since you've been doing this a while too, any memorable moments that stand out that really just were really great for you?
Okay. I didn't collaborate with this guy, but this is the story I tell people that nobody believes.
Okay.
I'm in a bar in British Columbia. I'm playing an original show. I finish my set, and a man in a ponytail comes up and says, "I have a man in the bar that would like to buy you a drink." Now, when you're making $300 a week, you don't question that. As long as he doesn't want you to go in the back alley by yourself,
Yeah.
you stay in public, but you're taking the
Yeah.
drink, right? So I sit down with this gentleman. It's very dark, and he says, "What are you drinking?" He has a British accent, and I don't do a good British accent, so we're not going to go there. And he
Okay.
says, "What are you drinking?" And I said, "What are you drinking?" He says, "I'm having a scotch." I said, "I'll have a scotch."
There you
And
go.
so he leans into the light and says, "I'm Jimmy Page. I really liked your drumming." And I looked at him and said, "Yes, you are." And then I think I peed a little. I'm not sure. But I got to spend 45 minutes to an hour, and Jimmy Page and I drank scotch together, and he paid.
That's beautiful, brother. I
And
got
that
to see.
was, yeah.
That's a great story. I mean, to hang out with Jimmy Page, a legend like that. I got to
Yeah,
see him.
and see exactly what rock and roll will do to you. I mean, Jimmy's nice. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. He's nice, but he's Jimmy Page. That's his
Yeah.
name.
That's it.
He's just not the same as everybody else. Like
No.
you can't be the same and be him.
Right.
He lost his handler. He was the guy that bought me the drink. Told me a story where he was on the property and he's walking through the fields and he finds this barn and he goes in there and there's a car and he unearths this car. It's a Bentley. So he walks back to the castle and says, "Jimmy, there's a Bentley out in that barn." And Jim looks up and goes, "Oh, that's where I left that." Like he lost a pair of Ray-Bans or something. It was just so yeah, there's a Bentley. Yeah, that's right. Okay,
That's
thanks. Thanks. Appreciate it. Anyway, so that was a great experience for me. And being there in the 80s in Vancouver, we got to meet everybody. My mother met Tommy Lee, for God's sakes. God knows.
Wow.
I was worried about that evening. I was wondering what happened there between those two.
Daddy.
Yeah, uncle at the very least.
Right.
Yeah.
God, we're losing the show.
Yeah. My mom was a sport. What can I say?
Oh, we're bad.
Yeah. She's dead. It's okay. She's never going to hear this.
So's mine, so we can talk.
My condolences. Yeah.
I wish this went on longer. My God, brother, I'm in tears here because I'm bringing up memories that I used to do pretty much the same thing as you. Oh no.
Well, man, we are all very unique individuals, but as a group, we are very much the same when it comes to musicians. I know that. So
it's beautiful. CC Brooks in the house, everybody. We are having a great time tonight. And we're at 44 minutes. We're going to have to cut this off here in just a second. But CC, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We've got to do this again very soon.
I'd love to do it, Al. And like to get over to Michigan and say hello to you, too.
Oh, I love that. Come here. I'll try to come to you. You come here, I'll book you some gigs. Definitely.
Okay, brother. You're going to regret that.
I know I will. I'll bring the mushrooms.
Thank you.
So anyway, CC Brooks is in the house. Go to ccbrooks.country. Am I right on that?
You got it, brother. Thank you again.
All right. Your show, your last words. You got anybody you want to thank, say hi to, anybody?
I want to say to all my friends at Big Records and all my people, my fans that have been helping me out promote this latest single for the last little 3 or 4 days. It's been an amazing response, and it honestly can't happen without every single person pitching in. Guys like yourself, Al, I really appreciate all the support, and as long as that support is out there, I'm just gonna keep writing and see what happens. So thanks
Good
again,
deal.
brother.
Good deal, Cece. I can't wait to see what's coming along and going to happen. We'll get together another 6 months or a year or so. All right, brother?
Sounds good, Al. Take care.
All right. You take care. I'll get this to the platforms and send you the link. You take care, brother. And everybody at Podcast Land, check out the shows. And now check out Cece Brooks' music. Everybody take care. Talk to you later. See you, Cece.